did we get here? 2 days ago? Sail over here 2.5 days ago. We were sailing along. All things were great. Life was good. And then we saw some dolphins and we thought, hey, that's great. Good omen, dolphins. And then literally as soon as the sun set and the dolphins said goodbye, our davits broke.
What just happened?
And then within 20 minutes, we had a dinghy that was upside down in the water and no outboard motor. Yeah.
All of our plans were now halted. Priority number 1 was to find an outboard engine. Tara, what are you paddling with?
A broom.
Jackson, what are you paddling with?
Two pieces of plywood stuck together. Screws.
And I've got this right-handed paddle that's half broken. We arrived on a Sunday, so we had a picnic and we went to see a flick at the world's oldest cinema. Also, while we're in La Ciotat, we need to find a welder to reattach and reinforce the davits to the transom. Being it our first time in France, and except for pleasantries, none of us speak French, Lise and Eric from Bothén were very gracious and helped us find a welder. So we met up with Julian and we attempted to communicate some sort of solution.
Ça fait beaucoup d'efforts.
We visited a few different places looking for an outboard motor and there was none to be found. One guy even told us that there were no outboard motors within the area that were being sold and that instead we would have to buy a new one and that it would take 2 weeks. But right next door, we found a store that was selling a refurbished 9.9 Yamaha outboard motor. And that was actually the only one being sold within a 20-mile radius.
Wow, that sounds so much better.
Way quieter.
And there they go. What happened?
It's not running.
But it was going so well.
I'm going over here to talk to the guy.
Apparently in France, gazole is not petrol. It's diesel. SP95 is petrol. I had put diesel in a petrol engine. Understandably, we had some miscommunications with Julian, and after a week of trying to dissolve a solution and us needing to be on our way, we just straight up bolted the davits to the transom.
It's good.
Only having 14 days left to exit the EU without violating the Schengen agreement, we had almost 1,000 nautical miles to Albania. 1,000 miles is near 10 days on the water. We had a smooth sail to Corsica where we stopped for a day to film with Tybalt and Jelena. We sailed into the Gulf of Tabalo and then sailed down around through La Boche and then across all the way. There's Roma. That's where we are now.
One foot on the wheel.
We beat windward to exit the bay and headed south. As we rounded the island, beginning to pass through the Strait of Bonifacio, we read both pages with pretty much a straight shot to Rome. The plan was that I was going to man the helm until around 2 a.m. Just as the forecast suggested, as the sun was beginning to set, off to the northeast about 15 miles, I could see rain clouds developing. But I thought, if those rain clouds develop into a storm, the wind is coming out of the due west, so the storm should stay to the north of us. But just around midnight, as I was watching the storm grow and it began to move south right in our path, the decision was made that we were to turn around and head back for Sardinia. We don't actually have any footage of this. It was all hands on deck, midnight and hectic. So this will stand in as Arianrod. With the wind blowing a 6 on the Beaufort wind scale, we had to remove sail so we could head back to Sardinia. We were able to furl in the jib with ease. Though Sardinia lay off to our starboard quarter, we turned on the engine and turned to port to spill the wind from the Genoa so that we could disconnect the whisker pole and furl it in. It took all my effort to disconnect the whisker pole, and in the process the Genoa was luffing aggressively. Beating against the pole, the Genoa tore like it was confetti. With the whisker pole finally stored, I crawled to the bow and furled in the Genoa by hand. The bow was heaving at the crest and crashing into the troughs, and I bear hugged the sail to stay on the boat as I made incremental progress. After 3 hours of motoring and a total of 15 hours on the water, we finally dropped anchor and rested for a few hours. Midday, we decided to head for open water and finish our sail to Rome. Upon arrival in Italy, we tried to lower the obliterated sail, but it was just too windy. So we secured it the best that we could because we only had a single day to visit Rome. Decimated head sail. Boat looks fantastic right now. Subscribe.